Hello and welcome to another episode of the Otaku Experience over here on the Burnettwork. I am of course your host, Israel. In this episode, we're going to discuss Crunchyroll's idiotic move that is ruining their website. I will review the new Ponok film, The Imaginary, and Bleach Thousand Year Blood War had a big week. After we discuss the stories, we'll take a look at some of the more memorable moments from this past week in the Keeping Up with the Anime Community segment. We'll talk about this week's summer anime audience rankings, and finally, we'll get into the comments written by you guys from last episode. And with all that being said, let's get right into the show. Hey guys! Alright, so I have a little thing. We have a couple of things that I want to get to before we talk about the main stuff. And first things first is this new season of Oshinoko continues. I have it pulled up over here on High Dive. And I just got to say, I got a little bit of a rant here of this episode because it was very aggravating for me. I'm trying to find a good spot to pause. Here, okay, great. So we have the freaking manga artist. Okay, so if y'all are keeping up with the show, you know what's going on. But for those of you guys who don't, they're doing a play based on this manga. The manga author came in at the end of the first episode and was like, "This is trash. We need to rewrite the whole thing." And that's where this episode picks up. Now, I don't have a problem with the manga author being upset with the script that they're using for the play. I don't have a problem with that. My problem is the unprofessionability. I don't even know if that's a word. How unprofessional this author takes it. They just start screaming and yelling at everybody, the scriptwriter, the director, with all the actors and everybody else around. It's like, can you take them into a room and talk to them about this? Like, this is not how this is supposed to pan out. And everybody's just like chilling. Like, let me see if there's a shot here. Yeah, like everybody just is just chilling around the room and they have to like forcefully move her out. And then later they go on and have a conversation in the office. But it's like, it's been too long. Like, you already you can't do that. You can't do that on a set. Get out of there. And so that made me like really upset. And I was just like, you could have just like yelled at them in a private room, not with all the, I don't want to say the lesser people, because, you know, every role is important, but the people with less authority, you know, like the actors and the assistants and things like that. Like, if you're only going to talk to like the director, the producer, and the screenwriter, or the scriptwriter, just take them to a room and yell at them there. But don't do it in front of everybody else, because that's just not good. That's really it. But then, yeah, it keeps going. There's also this irritating part, which is true in this situation, where there is a game of telephone that has to be played, where the author reads the script for the play, gives notes and stuff, but then those go through the author's agent, and then from there it goes to like someone working for the play, and then from there goes the director, and then, you know, like it goes through like 5 people before it gets to the scriptwriter. And by the time the scriptwriter gets it, it's been filtered, it's been watered down, it's been changed a little bit, and so the scriptwriter just does what their notes say to do. But then, you know, the author's still like freaking out about it, and the author gets the screenwriter, or I keep saying screenwriter because I'm so used to movies and TV, but there's a place, a scriptwriter. The author gets the scriptwriter freaking fired for this. And I'm like, dude, like, if you could have just had they go into this office here and they don't even bring the scriptwriter in. Like, this is the scriptwriter's script. Why is the scriptwriter not in this conversation? There was just so much here that I was just like, why is this happening? And, you know, maybe this is like all like exactly how this stuff happens, but it was just super duper just irritating to me. I was like, this should not be happening. And if this is happening in real life, this should not be happening. There's just so much where just the communication of these things is just so wrong. And it just made me upset. Made me not really like the artist or the author character. But anyways, there's my little rant on Oshinoko. This latest episode. Overall, I enjoyed the episode. I had a good time. It's just those little things that I was like, oh. But next, so the summer 2024 season is going on right now. I'm still keeping up with it. I'm actually doing pretty decently, guys. I know. Israel actually watching anime? Who would have thunk? But I dropped 2 new shows this week. And I just figured I'd let you guys know. So last week we dropped Days with my stepsister after the first episode because I thought it was awful, and I'm not a fan of it. But it looks like the score's going up, and like I'm looking at these audience rankings that we'll get to later, and it keeps ranking higher and higher. Like I think I'm ranked number 2 this week. Spoiler alert for later on in the episode. Ridiculous. I don't know what these people are seeing. I don't know why people are into this freaking relationship. But anyway, so we dropped that last week, and then this week I dropped 2 shows. The first being the Suicide Squad Isekai. I could not get into this show. I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think it's watchable, which is why I gave it a 5 out of 10 here. I think it's watchable, but watchable can't cut it. Like it's like I put it on and like, okay, but I would check to see how much longer was left in the episode. I wouldn't really be all that excited to watch it. And you know, as someone who's experienced anime burnout too many times and who wants to be into watching anime when it comes out, I have to cut off these shows that are just fine. So I'm done with the Suicide Squad anime. Hope the rest of you guys enjoy it. I gave it 5 episodes. That's half the show. I think that's plenty for me to actually gauge whether or not I like it. And I'm not really into it. So for those of you guys watching it, I hope you all continue to enjoy it. But for me, I had to get on out of there. And then the last one is the show I like the most out of these 3. But once again, it was a show that I think just had to go because I wasn't like super duper in it and I wasn't super duper excited to watch it. And I got the bit and the bit started to get old on me and it didn't seem like they were going to evolve it. So maybe if I hear something, I'll give it another chance. But that is Pseudo Harem. The one where, she transfers into the drama class, finds a guy that she likes, and he talks about how he wants a harem. And so she, as an actress, plays the part of each girl in a harem. She has like the tsundere, the cool one, the sad one, all the tropes there. And this second episode, once again, was cute. It was really cute. And maybe if there were less anime that I was trying to watch or less shows that I've been hearing about, I probably would have kept it, if I was watching like 4 or 5 shows, because it's not bad. It's an easy watch. It's just not something that I'm excited to watch or that I care to see finish. Like I can kind of tell how this show is going to pan out. And, but like I said before I revealed the title of the show, if I hear something about it that sounds really awesome, and if I see something blow up on Twitter, about like a scene where like something breaks the trope or something like that, I'll probably come back and like see what's going on, and maybe I'll finish it. But for now, it's just one of those shows again that I'm excited to see some new stuff that I've been hearing good things about, which is why I added a new show, because I gave 10 shows that I was, at the beginning of the season, I gave 10 shows that I was definitely going to check out. 5 shows that I was interested to like keep an eye out for just in case something happened. And I've gone through a lot of those, where like the ones that I was like keeping an eye on. I've gone through a lot of those, and I've also already cut out a few that I was going to try to watch. And so I've had to add in another show that I'm hearing is getting good reviews, and that is The Elusive Samurai. So I'm going to be checking this out, and we'll see how my thoughts develop on this whenever I get a chance to watch an episode or 2, by this time next week. But anyways, those are my updates on my experience with the summer 2024 anime season. What are you guys still watching? Let me know your thoughts. Are you enjoying the anime that I dropped? Are you not? I don't know. Are you skipping this anime season? I know a lot of people are, because a lot of people weren't really into it, or they're watching like not many shows if they are watching any. So just what's your overall experience with this season? Before I even begin to describe my thoughts on this stupid Crunchyroll situation, I just want to begin by stating that I am a huge Crunchyroll fan. You might even call me a Crunchyroll shill. They're my favorite anime streaming service that we have. I love their UI. And I think they have the best selection of anime by far. And I loved for a long time using the comments feature, but we'll talk about that. So all of this, just so you guys know, is coming from a place of love and a desire to see Crunchyroll succeed. Because if Crunchyroll succeeds as the biggest name in anime, then we all succeed, in my opinion. But this decision is not what succeeding looks like. And for those of you guys who don't know, Crunchyroll basically removed all of their comments from their website this week and disabled the ability to engage with the community. You can see right here, I just pulled up an episode of Shoshimin. Not the latest one. I haven't had a chance to see it. I'm very excited to watch it though. There used to be a comment section down here. Nothing. Just empty. Gone. And word is, it's the same if you like open up a news tab. Like if you open up an article and you scroll down, there used to be a comment section. Now there's not. So the article I'm using as my source for this story is from Anime Corner, where they say, I forgot to have it pulled up. I'm a big old whippersnapper. I thought I was a pro at this. I'm not. You know, you always end up messing it up. Okay, so here's what they say. Crunchyroll has deleted and disabled comments across the entire platform, including episodes and news articles. Users noticed the absence of comments and shared their observations on social media, including the r/Crunchyroll subreddit. Crunchyroll support states that this measure aims to reduce harmful content and prevent misinformation, with the goal of improving the overall user experience. And then we have the actual statement from Crunchyroll where they say, at Crunchyroll, we prioritize creating a safe and respectful community environment. To maintain this standard, we are removing all existing user-generated content, including comments, across all our platforms and experiences. The user rating system will, however, remain, allowing you to express your opinions through star ratings. So yeah, like I was showing you with the Shoshimin thing. So yeah, there's nothing here, but they still leave the like and dislike available, and you can actually see the dislikes unlike YouTube. And then you can still see the average rating, so you can still gauge how people are feeling about shows, but you miss that weekly episode conversation that a lot of people, including myself, frankly loved. And this is where the irritating part is. I understand why they did this. I understand this move. You know, there were people, I think I actually have it saved. There was a Twitter thread where someone was talking about this. I think I have it saved here. But it was, you know, they're doing this in efforts, it seems like, to curb, you know, just distasteful comments, insulting in the comment section, things like that. And it's just causing a big old kerfuffle, in my opinion. I thought I had a thread here. I thought I had a thing. I don't have the thing. I thought I did. But yeah, it's just this. It was a thread in this. There was a comment that I liked where they showed something from, I think it was Mother's Basement. I might actually be able to find it. You know, there was these comments while I try to look it up. I can't find his Twitter account. This is really embarrassing. Okay, I found it. Okay, so it's in here somewhere where he put, I think it was the beginning of July, like it was like July 2nd or something, right? Okay, great. So it's these comments. Okay, so this type of stuff where you get reviews on a show like this. So this is Twilight Out of Focus. I believe this is a show that's airing right now where they say LGBT BS run another attempt from Crunchyroll or alphabet people to make something alien become accepted. Not going to happen. And then you can read more of this review. Give me a choice, in parentheses, opt out. Listen here, Crunchyroll. If you're not giving us the choice to opt out of any genres in our profile settings. So if I find male to male BS like this in my feed, I'm going to give my honest opinion about it. You know, the stuff continues. And, you know, people just, you know, people reviewing the show, not even based on like what's in the show, but purely based on like what the show is. Like they're like, I don't like that this show covers this type of person. I say type of person like it's a different species or something, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, for example, with those cases, with Twilight Out of Focus, you know, okay, so someone has a different sexuality than I do, and they're in a relationship that seems wrong to me. And then they're review bombing the show purely because of that, rather than actually watching the show and maybe seeing if it's, you know, decent quality or something like that, just based on its writing or whatever. But no, they're just going, hey, we don't like what that place is selling, so we're gonna review bomb it. And it's like, well, did you even like try the food? No, we didn't. We think we don't like it. It just seems unnatural to us, you know. And so with those type of things, I get it. And I was talking to Rob earlier today, and And I was just like, we were talking about the situation. I was like, I don't really know how you do this. I don't know how you would handle this situation when you have people like that review bombing shows. But at the same time, you also have people in comment sections. Like if someone likes or dislikes a show that, the vast majority of people feel the opposite to how that comment was, you might get people in the comments, and, it turns into a big old thing. You know what I'm talking about. It's the freaking internet. And it was just like, what do you do in this scenario? And the best thing I could think of is just like blocking accounts maybe. Or maybe having like language barriers, like if you type in a certain word or something like that, like you immediately, like your comment just doesn't get seen or something like that. But it was really no way to figure it out. So I understand the decision they make it. But I think that while they're curbing, because I don't think it's the majority of fans on Crunchyroll that do that type of stuff. Well, I do think you're stopping that altogether because you're stopping all discourse. You are stopping all discourse. So you're stopping one of the best parts about Crunchyroll, something that High Dive doesn't have, something that Netflix doesn't have. You're stopping the community aspect where at the end of an episode, one of my favorite things, even if I didn't like the episode, is I would scroll down, see what people are talking about. Someone might be like, hey, I caught this detail. And other people might be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even see that, or they might say, oh, this was different from the manga or the light novel in this way. You get this conversation where people get to talk about it, and people get to like talk about who they're rooting for and who they want the guy to end up with or who they want the girl to end up with, But now all of that's gone. And I wish that maybe when this came out, like if they were saying, hey, we're going to disable the comments for the time being while we figure out a solution. And then, it would only be a temporary fix. But I think the problem is they just completely wrecked it, and it's for understandable reasons. But I think Crunchyroll was basically caught between a rock and a hard place, or however that saying goes, where on the one side you can let people ruin your site by doing this type of stuff to other people and to just review bombing shows and just making the anime fandom a less fun place to be, and then on the other side you have just completely making everybody else mad because you just like destroyed the complete community aspect of it. And so I don't envy their position. And I can't say like, oh, well, it's super easy. Just do blah, blah, blah. I don't know what the answer is. But I'd sure as heck would have liked it if they kept the comments. And I think that this type of stuff is just going to cause people to get bitter towards Crunchyroll, which is why I say it's a stupid decision and why I'm being hard on Crunchyroll about this, because I think this is ultimately going to do more harm than good. And that's the problem with this. This is the biggest story of the week, but there's not like a whole bunch of commentary about it. I'm just kind of disappointed that the situation's even what it is, that Crunchyroll had to do something like this. Hopefully in the future, they can maybe bring the comments back with maybe, some algorithm to stop, like certain words from being used, or maybe they could just ban accounts that get reported on or something. I don't know the best way to fix it. I don't know the best way to go about it. If you guys have any suggestions, I'd love to hear those. But yeah, it's just a weird situation to be in. And while I understand what Crunchyroll did, I wish they did it differently. Here's a story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. At Anime Expo, the new My Hero Academia movie, You're Next, got a confirmed US theatrical release date on October 11th. At the panel, the first 15 minutes of the movie were previewed. For more information about My Hero Academia, You're Next, I'll put an Anime Corner article in the description. One of my most anticipated anime films for this year was Studio Ponok's The Imaginary. And we recently talked about, I think it was like a couple weeks ago or something like that, where we talked about the film's Rotten Tomatoes score, which came out, which made me even more excited to talk about it and to see the film, because the Rotten Tomatoes score was like 90-something%. It was insane. And it's still holding that. And so I finally got a chance to watch it. And here are my thoughts. I've pulled up the trailer here for visuals. I loved this movie. This movie was fantastic. Now, the first thing I'll just get out of the way is the animation. It seems like I don't know why I just did that. It seems like it's kind of a 3D animation, just based on the shading and the way that the models look. It looks like it's 3D. but done in a way where it looks at the exact same time like it's 2D. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is completely hand-drawn. And if that's the case, it'd be interesting to see some behind the scenes as to how they got this look. Because when I was watching it, I was like, it looks like a 3D film, but like it's not bothering me, you know? Then there's also the score. The score in this film was fantastic. Not just like one of those anime scores like you have when you watch like a TV anime, where sometimes it just feels like they just like put in the happy track in there or the funny track, and now they have the sad track and the action track, you know, and it's like the same 4 tracks over and over. This actually felt like it had a score that was developing with the film and really worked with like the scenes that they were doing. Okay, now getting into my actual thoughts about the movie. I did not expect this movie to be what it's actually about, because I think I watched this trailer maybe once, never watched it again, completely forgot about it. Or maybe not this trailer, maybe it was another trailer. Completely forgot about it. And then just kind of tried to stay quiet on a lot of stuff. But this film is actually a really sad film. I thought this was going to be like a nice lift my spirits movie. This was freaking depressing. So this film, if you don't know, and you know, if you don't want to know like anything at all, like even the subject matter, feel free to skip my review of this film. But this film is about death, and specifically how children accept death in their life, and how they grapple with that concept. And it's done through the lens of having imaginary friends. And you can see here, like you have an imaginary friend here who, as they call it in the film, is disappearing. And that's the imaginary friend's version of death. You know, like when a kid moves on and they either forget or they don't need their imaginary friend anymore, the imaginary friend disappears, aka death. And so you have an imaginary friend named Roger here, and he's kind of our lead for the film, and he's grappling with what that looks like. Like, what is it like to disappear? What does it mean when, you know, my kid is going to forget me? And then this girl, Amanda, I won't say what, but she's also dealing with death in her life. And, you know, every aspect of this movie just has to do with death. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so sad. And I'm watching these kids try to figure out this concept. And I'm like, this is awful. Someone give him a hug. Another thing I loved about the movie is the twists and turns. I think it really helped not knowing a whole bunch about like what was going on. Like I said, I think I watched the original trailer like once, and then only from then on like saw visuals, knew the basic idea of the film, that it was about imaginary friends, and then kind of just really didn't know too much about it. And it kept this film really surprising me, because there's stuff that happens like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, somewhere around there. Like something happens and I was like, what just happened? And then they like keep doing that. And to where I was like kind of like unable to like know like or like predict what was going to happen as the film went on, which I love when films can do that. That's really all I can say without like getting into spoilers. I don't want to spoil this because it just came out like last week. I think you guys should take a chance to watch it if you haven't yet. It's really good. Get yourself something nice to eat. Get you a blanket, a loved one, a significant other, maybe your own kid, depending on how old you are, you know. Depending on your kid's age, like I don't think like a 5-year-old should watch this movie. This is like kind of serious stuff. But you know, like maybe like a 7, 8, 9-year-old, maybe a 10-year-old who's maybe experienced death at that point, or is about to. I think that this could be a really interesting. This could be a really interesting film. I think for me, because there are still anime films to look forward to this year. We have The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim coming up. We also have The Colors Within, which I think is going to be released this year. It might be next year for the US, but it might be this year. And those are really the only two I'm keeping an eye out for. Other than that, I don't really have, not that I think the rest are going to be bad, but I don't really have faith that those films are going to be better than this. This film is amazing. And I think if War of the Rohirrim and Colors Within can't top this, I think this is going to end up being my favorite anime film of the year, and it is completely deserving of that title. This film is amazing. This film is awesome. Super depressing. I highly recommend it. If you thinking maybe it wasn't for you or you hadn't heard about it, I implore you to at least like give like the first 10-20 minutes a try and see if you're into it. Yeah, I loved it. That's all I can say. Here's a story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. A new category at the Astra TV Awards has been created by the Hollywood Creative Alliance, previously known as the Hollywood Critics Association. The new category is Best Anime Series, and they have revealed the nominees: Blue Eye Samurai, Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Ninja Kamui, Pluto, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and Solo Leveling. The awards will take place at the Avalon Hollywood on August 18th. For more information about the Astra TV Awards and the new category, I'll put an Anime News Network article in the description. Bleach 1000-Year Blood War Part 3 is just around the corner, and so the news is starting to ramp up as we get closer. And it looks like we have 2 new trailers to look at, as well as some behind-the-scenes news, and the articles I'm using for my source for these stories are from Anime Trending and from CBR. So starting with the Anime Trending one, this one has both of the trailers in it, where we have this one, which is about 3 minutes. I never really watch anime trailers. I just like to see like the animation, maybe see like the score that's going on, and things like that. So yeah, I mean, looks like freaking Bleach, aka fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be action packed. The lighting, the composition, everything with Bleach is fantastic. Then we have this trailer. You know, they don't have subtitles ready to go, so can't really commentate on what's going on. I just know there's going to be action. Hey. I know there's going to be, where is it? A conflict. Okay, anyways. So we have those trailers, and I thought that they looked fun. So, yeah, I'm just excited to see it. But then we had the other news, the main thing, but you know, this is what I really wanted to talk about, but we had the trailer, so I figured we'd talk about them. And this has to do with the director. And this comes to us from CBR that says, Studio Parrot's highly anticipated Bleach 1000-Year Blood War Part 3 has replaced series director Tomohisa Taguchi to further improve the animation quality, with staff revealing what fans can expect from the upcoming core. Via Viz Media's official Twitter account, Bleach director Tomohisa Taguchi, who previously directed Akudama Drive and Twin Star Exorcist, will be moved to chief series director in place of Hikaru Murata. On the decision, series producer Yoshihiro Tominaga said, "We're all working very hard right now to bring you Part 3, The Conflict. As you may have noticed, some of our job titles have changed. To further improve the animation quality, Taguchi will now serve as the chief series director, with Murata joining as the new series director." And then there was this Twitter post that came out back on the 6th, where they talked about how Bleach this part of Bleach will have brand new content that's never been seen before, and so that made people, including me, be like, "Oh, we're getting anime original, like maybe fights, maybe, you know, who knows, like maybe full on sequences." Who's to say? It could be. This is the type of stuff that makes me excited, is when we get to see new stuff in these anime adaptations. Then the article goes on to say Murata directed multiple episodes for both cores of Bleach 1000-Year Blood War, as well as several episodes across JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime seasons. He also worked under the supervisions of Taguchi on Akudama Drive. While Bleach's specific division of labor between the director and chief director is unclear, Taguchi also serves as the series screenwriter alongside Masaki Hiramatsu. This move may free up Taguchi to focus on Bleach's increased anime original scenes. Announced last month, chief directors often serve more advisory roles for the animation. Some of the animation improvements that the staff have cited include increased CGI and more epic visuals. So I hope the fans can look forward to seeing the improved quality of the animation, Tomaniga says, adding that fans should look forward to Bleach's new opening music video, which was very recently revealed. He said on the Stern Ritter Royal Guards, "We're working hard to go beyond the quality of the original manga to animate their scenes. Okay, so that's what I like to see. That's what I like to hear about this type of stuff, that they're going to try to outdo, the stuff. Like, hey, we think we can make this story even better in the anime. So that makes me excited. So overall, it's not like the biggest change. Like, I think like all the headlines is just like Bleach replaces its director. Oh my gosh. And then like you read it and you're like, oh, okay. So they just like leveled one guy up and then put another guy in the other guy's position, so not much has really changed, other than like, I guess just the degree of the involvement of each of the guys. Taguchi was the original, director for the first two cours, and now he's the chief director rather than the series director. So I think the series director is more like involved on the nitty-gritty level, whereas the chief director is going to be more like overseeing things. I could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like to me from this article, that he's going to be overseeing a lot more of the stuff. And they want him there to improve the animation quality. And so I'm excited to see this, as well as I'm excited to see these new original scenes that they're talking about. I'm just excited for this next season, or this next part, I should say, of Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War. Like I said, and I keep saying it, I think that this arc so far has been the best arc of the anime. I didn't think the second part of this arc was as strong as the first part, but I still enjoyed it, and I'm excited to see, hopefully, part 3 be the best so far. And then obviously we have part 4, I believe, coming out sometime next year, which will like conclude Bleach forever. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And I think this part comes out in October, so we don't have too long to wait, and we'll get to see what's going on here. But overall, I'm really excited about this. Here's a story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. 2 webtoons had anime adaptations announced this week, one being Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, which will be produced by Crunchyroll and Aniplex. No release date has been confirmed. The other being Tomb Raider King, which is set to release in 2026, but no studio has been announced. For more information about the webtoons and their adaptations, I'll put 2 articles in the description. One of the shows I was most excited to watch this anime season was My Dear Friend Nokotan. The excitement seemed to explode when the opening was released before the first episode. They had the whole... I'm not gonna do it. I almost did it, and I was like, I don't want to do that. Okay, so, but then the first episode came out, and then the conversations around the show, for lack of a better term, changed. The article I'm using as my source for this story is from CBR, where they say, My Dear Friend Nokotan, one of the most anticipated titles of the summer 2024 anime season, has gotten off to a rocky start amid widespread criticism and debate over its subtitle quality and origins. In particular, major streamer Crunchyroll has received major backlash for its perceived role in keeping the anime's poor quality translations. This added on to the first story we talked about this episode, where Crunchyroll disabled their comments. This happened like within like the same 24-hour period, where all that was just, it was on fire. It was bad. There's been widespread anger following the premiere of My Dear Friend Nokotan, which headed into the summer 2024 anime season as one of, if not the most anticipated anime among the lineup. The English, French, and German subtitles have been particularly derided across the many platforms streaming the series for their, quote, low-quality translations, with many pointing out that these subtitles clearly did not undergo the standard level of quality checking fans have been used to. Veteran voice actors online have also highlighted the bizarreness of the situation, with dub actors seemingly voicing from a near identical script to the English subtitled script. While both sub and dub scripts are designed to match the lip flaps of the characters, relying on identical scripts has led to some saying the voice acting is unnatural, reflecting unfairly on the performance. Crunchyroll has faced the brunt of this criticism as one of the West's biggest anime platforms to stream the series, while the subtitling was very likely not done by Crunchyroll, with many pointing to licensor Remo as responsible for handling it. Other streamers like ADN in France redid the subtitles, whereas Crunchyroll have thus far kept the initial ones. Crunchyroll's history of lower quality third-party subs resurfaced as fan criticism, while others were reminded of the Yuzuki family's Four Sons debacle, which the company pulled from the site but denied any use of AI. Unfortunately, my dear friend Nokotan's subtitles controversy has detracted from important news that the dub was done entirely remotely. Those within the voice acting space shared their excitement about what it could mean for the future, where many have to move long distances from opportunities. For fans, the controversy will likely see increased scrutiny on initiatives to speed up translation of AI and even manga. Shueisha, Shogakukan, and others recently invested in AI translation startup Orange, which hopes to bring 50,000 titles overseas in the next 5 years. Both companies are backing another startup, Mantra, which provides official AI translations for One Piece and Spy X Family in select territories. The Japan Association of Translators, JAT, recently spoke about the following news of the investment in Mantra, outlining serious concerns over the moves, and we talked about that. So like I was saying, this kind of compounded the Crunchyroll comments thing, and a lot of people think that this was the big thing, like that you already had, because that stuff wasn't new. The review bombing, the bigotry, the harassment to other people, all that wasn't new on Crunchyroll. But then you had Nokotan premiere, and you had a lot of people in the comments being like, what are these captions? What are these subtitles? You had people saying, what is this dub? And everybody freaking out about the AI translations for the script and for the subtitles, and then blaming that on Crunchyroll. And a lot of people think that this is actually what caused Crunchyroll to make that decision, to turn off the comments altogether, just to avoid the hate. I don't know if I believe that theory too much. I don't know if I disbelieve it either. I don't really know. I think it could be like a mixture of a bunch of different things, without necessarily one being the culprit, but I could be wrong. The thing about this is now a big exercise in what we've been talking about for a long time, where they were building up AI translating manga to avoid leaks. Then they started moving into AI changing, subtitles, or not changing subtitles, but doing the subtitles on anime to avoid things like with the Dragon Maid, where you had people pushing their own agenda in the subtitles and rewording some of the stuff. And then you had a new development, which is that the dub script is entirely the subtitle script, which is an AI script. And a lot of people are saying that this sounds unnatural. This doesn't sound how people talk. And this is what I've been saying for months, if not longer, that when you have an AI do it, at the very minimum, you have to have a human come and touch it up and make it sound like a person again. I'll say this, when I was watching the Nokotan thing, it wasn't enough to take me out of what was going on, because the original voice actors and the animation and everything going on there was enough to keep me invested, and the subtitles were just doing their job of just giving me the information of what they're saying. But everything else was good enough for me to stay invested in what was going on and laugh, because it's a comedy anime. But I did notice, I was like, why did they word that like that? No one talks like that. Why did they do this? It was just a strange situation. I noticed more typos than I normally notice. I noticed more just grammatical errors. It was just a really strange thing, and it couldn't be blamed on anyone, because these are the AI subtitles. You just have to copy and paste them on the episode before you upload it. Like, it's already done for you. It's just so weird. And I'm glad that I'm not like, feeling crazy right now. Like, there could have been a situation where like everybody else was like, la, 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 this is fine. And I'm sitting here like, what is going on? But luckily everybody's feeling that way. It seems like a lot of people are reacting even worse than I am, which kind of, makes me feel a little bit better. But yeah, it's just a really weird situation. And I think that this is like a decent test size to see. It'll be interesting to see how like the next few weeks go. Like, how is the reaction to the show going to go? Are people going to stay and keep watching it? Or are a lot of people going to start boycotting and leaving the show? Is it going to start getting review bombed? What's going to happen to Nokotan? And who's going to get the fall for it? Right now, it seems like it's surviving. It seems like people are still watching it. It seems like the vast majority of people are still enjoying it, but with a lot of criticisms. And it seems like a lot of those criticisms are going to Crunchyroll, regardless of their involvement in it or not. Which this article seems to say that Crunchyroll really has no, like this isn't a Crunchyroll series, so they didn't really At least I don't think so. They're just distributing it. But I don't think this is like a Crunchyroll show, like, The God of High School was, or something like that. They're just the streaming service that it's on. And it'll just be interesting to see how this pans out. Like, is this going to get better? Is it going to get worse? Are people going to accept it? Are people not? And how is the studio? How is Crunchyroll? How is everybody involved going to react to how this is going on? And apparently there was like a big thing behind the scenes that they were trying to like have be a really cool thing for press, which is that they were doing the dub completely remotely. Now, this isn't new. A lot of anime had to do this over COVID because they couldn't bring the actors together, and a lot of voice actors have like setups. But I think that they were trying to say like this is entirely remote. Like there was no one that came into the voice studio. Now, is that a cool thing or not? I guess that's up to the person. I personally like it when you can bring actors into the same room with each other and with the director. I think that that's like the best environment for success because you get that banter, you get that, you get that chemistry going. But hey, I mean, in terms of like moving forward, like anime technology, that's awesome. But it's been just completely, looked over because of the current controversy that's going on. It'll be interesting to see if they stop the subtitling. Because I do know that voices are one of the last things that they add to episodes of anime. So it'll be interesting to see if, like, in the back half of the season, where maybe they maybe they let the AI translate the script and the subtitles, and then they just have a human touch it up and make it sound natural, or maybe they just go back to being like, let's just have a person do this, or maybe they just don't care and they're like, hey, we're gonna let the AI do this, okay? It'll just be interesting to see how this pans out. I feel like the situation is far from over, and we'll see how it goes in the upcoming weeks. But this is just a weird situation on what I think is a really fun anime. Here's a story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. The official Rent a Girlfriend website confirmed that the fourth season for the anime would be coming in 2025. The announcement was made to celebrate the 7th anniversary of the manga. For more information about Rent a Girlfriend and its upcoming season, I'll put a My Anime List article in the description. All right, so the Look Back film by Tatsumi, is it Tatsumi or Tatsuki, something like that, Fujimoto, the author of Chainsaw Man. He wrote this one-shot manga called Look Back a few years ago, and it's been turned into an anime film because it's only like an hour, and it's been playing in Japan over the past few days, and people are freaking loving it, and it looks like the creator, Fujimoto, gave his thoughts on the movie, and we also got an update for the U.S. Release date, and the articles I'm using for my story are from CBR, where they say, according to the Japanese news site Oricon, Fujimoto cried tears of joy over the animated adaptation of Look Back. There's an expression like breathing life into the characters, and that's absolutely true. It felt like I was watching through a camera the world in which Fujino and Kyomoto live. The animation and the voice actors' performances were so natural and wonderful. I cried, thinking that I may never again in my life have my work created with such sincerity, which this quote ended up leading people to be like, he didn't say anything like this about the Chainsaw Man anime, so maybe he doesn't like that. So it'll be, we'll see how he talks about it with, season 2. But then, so that's his opinion. So he freaking loved it. He cried. He thought it was fantastic, which bodes well if the creator loves it and thinks that it kept, the heart of what the original art was meant to do. That makes me very excited to see it. But then we get the actual update for the US release, where they say the anime adaptation of the Look Back one-shot story by Chainsaw Man's Tatsuki Fujimoto was released in theaters in Japan on June 28th, 2024. However, North American fans looking forward to a mass theatrical release of the anime movie are in for a disappointing surprise. An online user who goes by the name of Mattenboy on Twitter wrote a thread about the Look Back anime movie premiering at Anime Expo 2024 in Los Angeles, California. Kiyotaka Oshiyama, the director, writer, and character designer for the Look Back anime movie, answered questions from the audience after the screening was over. One audience member asked Oshiyama if he planned on making the film 60 minutes long. Oshiyama said he wanted to make the movie long enough so it could be screened at film festivals, but also said the storyboards were 60 minutes in length during early development process. However, the Japanese filmmaker said that the Look Back, because the Look Back doesn't meet the 70-minute requirement in the United States, it cannot be screened in commercial theaters. And that's where it kind of really affects us, not in a good way. Oshiyama's comments didn't mean the Look Back anime won't be available in the US. The Japan Cuts Film Festival in New York City will screen the movie on July 14th, 2 weeks after its official premiere in Japan, which is tomorrow from the time that I'm filming this. Moreover, given the popularity of the Chainsaw Man series in the West, an English anime distributor will likely pick up the film rights when it can be sold on home media. However, it's unlikely that the Look Back anime will receive a widespread theatrical release in America like Spy X Family, Code White, or Haikyuu, The Dumpster Battle. Okay. There's a lot there. Okay, so I understand, and I kind of figured this, that we probably wouldn't get like a full thing. When I heard that it was kind of just like a glorified episode of anime, I was like, okay, well, we're probably not going to get it in theaters unless they attach it with something else. So like if they add on like a 10-minute, 15-minute interview with the director, or maybe with, just maybe the entire behind the scenes team, maybe with the author himself. The only way you can get it in the US is if it's 70 minutes. So I kind of figured this a while back, but I was like, hey, but they got a plan. Maybe this is going to be able to come out in the US. Maybe they know something that I don't. But no, it looks like it's just not gonna play. It looks like there was an interview that happened at Anime Expo, or I guess a Q&A. My question is, if they filmed that, I assume they filmed it and just didn't release it to the public. If they filmed it, why not just toss that in at the end and, oh no, suddenly our film's 70 minutes. What are we gonna do? I guess it has to play in theaters now. Why not just do that? I think that this is probably just going to end up going straight to streaming, which I guess I don't have the biggest problem with, because that's what I kind of figured. But I would like to see it in theaters if possible, especially if it's like as emotional as like not just the creator saying, but like all the other reviews are saying. Like everybody's saying like this is like a freaking emotional punch in the face, which makes me really excited to see it. But I think it's probably going to end up going to like Netflix or Crunchyroll or something like that. One of those two, and it'll become just a streaming directly. If I had to put a bet on it, I'd probably say Crunchyroll with like 70% confidence. And then like I don't think like it's unlikely that it would go to Netflix. And I think either of those would be a decent home for it. And I would just hope that, they would make like a big deal about it, actually market it so that way, US audience members can like know where to watch it. Because it sucks that it's not going to be able to come to the US unless they figure something out. Now, before I started filming, they added an update to this article where they said several days after this article was published, a PR representative partnered with Avex Pictures reached out to say that the production team is, quote, still exploring avenues for wider theatrical distribution of the Look Back film. No further information was provided. I say you just do like a behind the scenes thing. I think it's the easiest way you can get your film to like 70 minutes. I don't think there's like a rule where like it has to all be like a narrative thing. Like I think you can have like a 10-minute, 20-minute interview at the end that makes your film 70 or 80 minutes long. I don't know why that couldn't be like a thing. And it doesn't have to be necessarily with the director. Like I said, it could be with the creator. It could be with the actors. It could be with everybody. I think that would just be the easiest, where they can talk about the significance of the film, what it means to them, what it was like to bring it to life. I think that'd be a nice little thing that you could do. They do that for some of the Ghibli Fest movies. Like if you go to Ghibli Fest and you watch one of the Ghibli films, sometimes they'll have an interview before or after the film where they kind of talk about it a little bit. And, it's a really nice little thing. Like it sets the tone if you watch it before. And if you watch it after, it's like, it kind of gives you a new understanding of what you just watched, where you're understanding the intentions behind it. I think either of those would be like the easiest way, but if I'm being honest, it's probably going to end up going to streaming. I'd be surprised if it got even just a limited theatrical release just because of the runtime. And so if they don't want to add something to it, like an interview or something like that, I think it's going to go to streaming. And frankly, I don't have that big of a problem with it, although I would have liked to have seen this in theaters. Here's a story from this past week that we didn't have time to fully discuss in this episode. On Thursday, the August issue of Jump SQ magazine announced that a second part of Moriarty the Patriot manga would begin in the January 2025 issue of the magazine, which will release on December 4th of this year. For more information about Moriarty the Patriot and its second part, I'll put an Anime News Network article in the description. With all the major headlines of this past week out of the way, it's time for us to hop into some of the memorable moments from this past week, and it's time for Keeping Up with the Anime Community. That's right, I did change the title a little bit. It's no longer the Goofy Woofy Anime Community because there was stuff, where it would be like kind of cool stuff, or just, stuff that I want to talk about with the community that isn't necessarily like, funny, community, goofy. I figured that would be better. But if you guys missed the title, we can. But I don't really think this is goofy. I think this is kind of cool. And that is, there is so JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, one of the most popular anime, maybe of all time, but definitely of like the past 10 years, is going on. There is an unofficial fan trailer for the Steel Ball Run arc by this YouTube channel, Oraki. Hope I pronounced that right. Where they say the following is a fan-made trailer: JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Steel Ball Runner, owned by Hirohiko Araki, Lucky Communication and Sueisha, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Please support the official release. But it's this really cool trailer that is like really high quality, and people were talking about it like, oh my gosh, wait, this is like a fan trailer? Because it looks really good. Like, it looks good. Like, hey, like the anime fandom, like this and the Berserk anime, and I feel like there's another one that I'm blanking on. There's a Naruto fan thing. Like the anime community's just been awesome, and they just keep like this stuff that isn't like necessarily on par with like studio official like releases, but it's like the fact that it gets that close that it does, where people are even talking about it like that, is just insane. I think it's amazing. Personally, I never really got into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I know, crucify me if you want. I tried. I watched like half of the first season, and it really wasn't my thing. Maybe I've heard from some people that I can skip and go to like the second season, but I don't know, like, am I allowed to do that? I would rather like, hey, I gave it and my honest gentleman's try. And it wasn't really for me, but hey, maybe you guys watch it and you guys think that, no, it's fine. Like, go for it, Israel. Do it. It'll be great. Let me know. With that, it's time to take a look at some of the audience rankings from this past week. But first, we got to talk about the spring 2024 anime audience ranking winners for anime trending from like the entire season. So they have like the everything awards, so there's Ending, which is I'm Nobody from Girls Band Cry. And then they have the opening theme from Girls Band Cry as the opening winner. Then there is supporting female character, which is Kurumi Tokisaki from Day of the Life 5. Supporting male, Diablo from Slime Season 3. Lawrence X Hollow and Spice and Wolf is the favorite couple or ship. Then you have favorite female character, Hollow from Spice and Wolf. Favorite male character, Kazuma from Konosuba, and then we get to the more interesting one. So this is new anime of the season. This is Girls Band Cry by Toei Animation, and then we get to the fun stuff, which is like the stuff I really care about, which is the anime of the season contests, which they have in third place Mushoku Tensei Season 2 Part 2. I really liked that season. We have Data Life 5 from Geek Toys. And then we have at number 1, Konosuba season 3. And then they released a full list of it. So your top 4 were Girls Band Cry, Mushoku Tensei, Date Alive, and Konosuba. And then Kaiju number 8, I guess, is their wild card winner and will be put into the wild card round where they have one from each season and get put into a wild card round and get voted on to then be added to the actual Anime of the Year nominees. While I love the Anime Trending Awards more than the Crunchyroll Awards, I still think this is kind of dumb. Like, we know, like, okay, why would I think that Data Life 5, Mushoku Tensei, Girls Band Cry, or Kaiju number 8 have a chance at being Anime of the Year if they couldn't even become Anime of the Season? Like, just give me the top 4 Anime of the seasons. Give me maybe a couple shows that didn't air seasonally, so they weren't on these charts, and then, hey, let's vote on that. Like, there was that one year, what was it, 2022? But the awards were held in 2023, where, like, you had something like Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which didn't air seasonally. It dropped all at once. Like, that could be like a wild card something. And then you have like your 4 actual seasonal anime. And then we actually don't know because none of those shows have ever competed with each other before. This could be anyone's game. But when you have, I think they end up having like 16, 17, 18 nominees for Anime of the Year. It's like, okay, well, only 4 of these have a chance. And so that's what makes it a little irritating. But it is what it is. Maybe they'll listen to me. Maybe they won't. But then we get into the Anime Corner Spring winners, where they have the seiyuu of the season. So this is the voice actors. And so at number 1, we had Aya Endo. And I don't really know who they were playing. Like, they didn't really name who they're doing. So these are the top 50 females. If you want to pause, you can. Okay. And then, I didn't know they had like little graphics. Okay, cool. Here's the men's. All right. Oh, okay. Then you can see who they actually played. This is way better. Why didn't you start with this? Gosh. Anyways, so here's this. Okay. Then we had the best opening and endings for Anime Corner, which were it's these 2. So you have hey, I'm trying to do something here. Okay. So you have Paradoxes that won, then Abyss in second place, Mugen in third, Hitahara, Nobody, and Muteki for your endings. And then you had for supporting characters, we have these characters. So this is for female supporting characters down here. This is Kotoha, Alina Liz, Mio. And then for the male supporting characters, Paul. We know why he's up there. Rest in peace. Giyu and Gyome. And then we have best boy characters. All the way down here. So we have Shido Itsuka, Rudeus Greyrat, and Tanjiro Kamado. Not really super duper surprising. Then we have best girls down here, which is Kurumi Tokisaki. And then what's cool is they like make up the one image. We have Sylphiette and Roxy, both last name Greyrat, because they both got married this season to the same guy. Hello? My mini fridge is making noises. And then we get to the anime of the season, which is Date Alive 5, Windbreaker, and Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation Season 2. So I think Date Alive 5 got number 2 on Anime Trending and got number 1 here. So it looks like that was probably, for these 2 polls, the like anime of the year. Because Konosuba in this one placed, all the way down in 4th. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. But then we get to this week's actual ranking. And this comes from Anime Corner. Anime Trending will start, I believe, tomorrow, so we'll talk about that next week. But we have Anime Corner here. At number 1, we have Alia Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian, which stayed at the same rank as last week. Days with My Stepsister went up 1 spot to number 2. My Dear Friend Nokotan debuts at number 3. Oshinoko Season 2 went down 2 spots to number 4. Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest is a new entry at number 5. No Longer Allowed in Another World is a new entry at number 6. Suicide Squad Isekai went down 3 spots to number 7. Pseudo Harem went down 3 spots to number 8, and Wisteria 1 and Sword is a new entry into the top 10 at number 9, and Magical Girl and the Evil Lieutenant Used to Be Arch Enemies is a new entry into the top 10, just at the bottom of the list. And then we get to the Japanese ratings for the week of June 24th through the 30th. Obviously, no surprise. Number 1 was Sazai-san with about 7.2% of the audience watching. Demon Slayer had 6.4%. Chibi Maruka-chan, 5%. Detective Conan, 4.6%. Slime Season 3 was all the way up there at 3.3%. That kind of surprised me. Wonderful Precure, 3.1%. Doraemon, 3%, One Piece 2.7%, Crayon Shin-chan 2.6%, and Oshiri Tante at 1.7%. And this is from the Kanto region of Japan, where they take their sample of Japanese families that are watching it, or Japanese households. There's about 43 million people in Japan, and so, you get all the way up with like Sazai-san, which is 7.2%. That's over 3 million roughly people watching it, which is crazy. But I think, this is for kids, so like it makes sense that it's on. That's like, be like PBS Kids or something like that for us. What surprised me, or I guess what didn't surprise me, was Demon Slayer being 6.4%. And so that I think is about a little over or close to 3 million. Yeah, 2.8 million for the Demon Slayer finale just in Japan. So crazy. And then Slime Season 3 got 3.3%, which that one was the one that actually did surprise me, and that was about 1.4 million total. So yeah, there you go. Those are all of your ratings. And now it's time to do the... Oh, hey. You're not supposed to see that. And now it's time to do the last thing that we do in these episodes. We're going to hop into responding to your comments or questions from the last episode. If you'd like to have me respond to your comment or question in the next episode of the Otaku Experience, just hop into the comments and literally leave your thoughts on whatever. It could be even about something I didn't talk about, and we'll talk about it. So first we have Pokemon Ash Green 2. I'm enjoying Suicide Squad Isekai. Basically, it puts our anti-hero in an environment that they haven't seen before, and the end credits dance with Amanda is priceless. LOL. I fully get that. Hey, some people are really into this show, and that's fine. For me, I just couldn't get into it. I tried to put all of my reservations about isekai and everything. I tried to just leave that behind and watch the show, but ultimately the show kind of ended up doing, exactly what I thought it would be. Just in my opinion, just kind of a waste of what it could have been. But I'm really glad you're watching it, and the ending is really fun. I do enjoy watching the ending. And then our last one comes from L. Mars 1983, who says, "Nice info, great video, keep up the good work." Thank you. I appreciate it. And that does it for this episode of the Otaku Experience. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. If you prefer to listen to the show rather than watch, or maybe you can't have a YouTube video open when the show comes out, you can always listen to the Otaku Experience podcast on Spotify. And hey, if you want to keep up with me outside of this show, you can subscribe to me on my main YouTube channel, Kingtanic, where I also make anime content but in a less serious and professional way. You can also follow me on Instagram at Kingtanic, or follow me on Twitter at Kingtanic Israel. And if you're new to the Burnettwork, consider sticking around. We have some great shows for you to watch every week, most of which are hosted by the one, the only, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. The Otaku Experience is the anime non-news show. We talk about the current goings-on in the anime and the manga industry with our very uneducated opinions, hosted by me, Israel King, Kingtanic, every week, only on the Burnettwork. And with all that being said, guys, this episode comes to a close. I will see you all next time.